ever had some awesome, wonderful family or friends in your life that when you were young helped shape and create you or help you make such rich memories that fill your mind now to this day of such awesome times that you wish you could relive them? Yeah, I had those people in my life. I'm sure you did too. And I hope you enjoy the story. Howdy, folks. Brainstorm here, coming at you with another awesome story time share moment. I've had the fortune, and I've mentioned this many times, but I've had the absolute fortune in my life of a rich uh, succession of family, my adults in my life, the aunts and uncles, the ones that shaped you and just brought you up when you were coming up and taught you so many things that you didn't even realize that you were learning at the time. But I had a one particular aunt. We'll just call her Aunt M. Aunt M was an awesome lady. She was the wife of one of my dad's older brothers, and they were awesome folks. This aunt and uncle. They lived about 45 minutes away in a different city, a little busier city than. Well, they didn't live in the city. They lived on the outskirts, and they had a somewhat of a little farm deal going. She, like a lot of people her age at the time, coming up in the generation that she came up in, that greatest generation, they, came from very little, knew how to work the land, knew how to create things from scratch, and were very adept at just getting by and doing the best with what you have available. And she took me on so many adventures in the times that I spent with her. I was kind of shy. I didn't like to get away from my mama. I'm still a mama's boy. And my mom and this aunt was very close. And this aunt would come over all the time and she would go visit. She was constantly on the move. Aunt M loved to visit, but she would only stay with you about 5 or 10 minutes and then she was gone off to the next person. And I never understood that. It used to infuriate me that she would never hang out as much as I wanted her to, because this was the cool aunt that I really enjoyed talking to. She always made me laugh. She always shared things that were really interesting to me. She churned her own butter. She could make her own soap, and she did. She didn't just do it for fun or illustrative or show off. She did that for using it, and those are the kind of things I was exposed to with her. And she would, when I was really little, I have really fond memories. My mom would wash my hair, and I remember this. My mom would wash my hair, and I'm talking about when I was real little. But my mom would always pull my hair, and it would make me cry, and I hated it. I hated to get my hair washed. I'm sorry, Mom, but you just always hurt my hair. She wasn't that gentle, I suppose. But this aunt, took over one day and washed my hair, and she did such a gentle job. Or, every time we would go over to her house and visit, and that was our vacation, or every other weekend we'd go visit her on a Saturday and spend the whole day. I would, even we were at her house, I would want her to wash my hair at her house. I wouldn't get in the bath. She would just hold my head over the tub and wash it because I loved how gentle and just perfectly she did it. And if I had to have my hair washed, I wanted her to do it. And I just remember those. And she had chickens, and we had chickens, and she had her husband, my dad's brother, was an awesome guy too. He would sneak a little tobacco every now and then, and go, this is a man's secret. We don't tell Aunt M about this. And she, of course, knew. But it was a funny thing how he was always trying to do things behind little things like that behind her back, but she knew about it. Of course, moms always know, right? And they're wiser beyond all of our understanding. Anyway, moms and wives, right? They're wiser than us for sure. But he would, we would go. One of the big things we would do as a family, we need firewood because we used it in wood stoves. My mom had a wood stove, still does have a wood stove that she uses to heat during the winter out, not inside the house, but on a porch that she has, and she cooks on it too. And my aunt used the wood stove. My aunt had this big house, and she stayed in it. during the summer times and stuff like that. But in the winter, they had this little smaller house out behind the other house that they would live in, and it was like, not very big at all. I don't know. It's like an old. It's like one of those storage buildings that you can buy now. That's actually what it was, if I remember correctly. She had bought a storage building, and they put a bed out there and had a little kitchen on the other side, and that's where they stayed during the winter times because it was just more cheap at her wood stove and economical to had a table, kitchen, bed, pretty much it. They didn't have TV out there, didn't have anything like that. They had electricity, of course, but that's how they kept themselves warm during the winter because it was just more economical that way, and that's what she knew. You know, and it was always fascinating to me. And we go over there and we have a lot of meals in that little house, more in that little house than we ever did in the bigger house. It feels like. They still have to go to the bathroom or the shower or whatever in the bigger house, but the little house was where the action was at. And she would show us all different things, how to bake things on the wood stove, and she was just really a whiz at that. And she loved to go on adventures. She loved to be like jump in the car and just take off and go see what we can find. Go get lost. I would stay. Um, my cousin, her daughter, and she had a son, and I was close to him, and in age, so we would hang out all the time and have fun, and I would stay and spend the night over. And I remember the first time I stayed and spent a night over with him, I cried like a baby because I missed my mother. I just cried the whole time, but my aunt tried to soothe me and to make it all right, to distract me with the awesome fried chicken she would make. She would go out there, her and my mom, either at her house or my mom's house, and they would grab a chicken out of the yard, wring its neck, pluck it. They boil it. You got to boil it after you pluck it, and no, after you kill it. Um, Pluck it with still with the head on, nothing. You pluck it while it's hot from the boiled, and then she would get a paper bag or something. They'd build a fire in the fireplace or whatever outside, and they would singe all the chicken hairs off of it with that fire, and then they would commence to desiccating that chicken like nobody's business, and they were really good at it. I could never do that. I tried to, you know, I might could wring a chicken's neck, and I could do all the other stuff, but I could not, for the life of me, figure out how to. No matter how much they showed me how to cut up a chicken to save my life. My sister could do it. My mom could do it. A lot of people in my family could do it, but I could not do it. No, still can't do it. Don't want to do it. I'd rather go to the grocery store and buy me a chicken. But you give me a whole chicken, even from the grocery store, I can't cut that thing up like I'm supposed to save my life. But they would do that. They would make fresh things like that. There's nothing like a fresh fried chicken, straight from the backyard to the frying pan. But she would make awesome cornbread. I'll never forget on my 15th birthday, we went to her house, and I had my cool denim jacket on, my spiked hair. Maybe I can find that picture and share it here with you. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you don't want to see that. But yeah, at my 15th birthday, we spent that there. It was just a great time. And one adventure, I remember, this was before I think I was 15. I was staying over, and what we would do sometimes, though, for the firewood, as I got distracted there, we would get permission from one of our relatives or someone else my dad knew, because my dad knew everybody, to go cut a tree down, like a big oak tree. And we would cut the tree down, and my dad and my uncle, were in charge. I can't tell you how many times, though, I would hear my aunts going, "They're going to get killed because they're not paying attention." That's because they were deaf. They would seem like they were going to get crushed by the tree, but it always wound up. They get that big old tree down. And once they get it down, they start taking all the limbs off, and that was mine and my cousin's job. That was the kids' jobs. Go pile up all the limbs somewhere, and of course, once we get them all piled up somewhere off away from the action, we would crawl in the limbs, and that would be our fort. We were always playing, always having fun as kids, and that was like the best time. Getting together, cutting down a tree, everybody working together, and then you would chop it up into smaller bits that we knew that would take it home, and then we could chop it with at home. We would be able to chop it up with the axe into stove size. And this, we haven't. I miss those. That was a fun time to just a tree felling, a tree felling or whatever they called it, and we would just all, on half. They take half, we take half. We would probably get wood off that for a good 3 or 4 months, and that would last us most of the winter, honestly. Um, Most of the time that we would eat the wood. And you go to my uncle's house, though, he would have it woods, just wood everywhere. Like he'd have them under shelters and all these little places, and he just had piles and piles of wood everywhere. That generation, my dad, and that they were talented in so many ways. They could be carpenters, electricians, plumbers, mechanics. They had to. It was out of necessity. That's a lost art sometimes these days. I wish I could be that eclectic and that talented in a lot of ways, and I want to impress that upon my own kids too. So, but this is a great this family and those memories I had with them. And she had a video camera that, and it was the first time I got to use a video camera, and I would get to go and they would let me use the VHS video camera. Me and my cousin would make movies, and we would film, and she would always let me do it. It was a big deal. When we would go somewhere, she would let me use her video camera to record. I'm not sure if it was her video camera or my cousin's video camera, but anyway, they would let me use it and let me play with it, and we would make movies and then make each other laugh. She was very old fashioned in a lot of ways, but she was also cognizant of capturing memories and capturing moments together as a family, whether it was a family reunion, whether it was just an escapade off down the road where we'd end up some park in Florida that we'd never been to, never seen before, that had waterfalls. And so, and one other particular incident, we were going to go to a tree falling. My dad and my mom, I had been staying with them on like a Friday night, and we were going to go back on a Saturday to where they were to cut the tree down. And it was at a new place. It's like some off the wall place. And I was supposed to know where it was. I was going to get them there. I was going to direct them how to get there because I knew it all, right? I'm with my aunt, uncle, and my cousin. We're going to go cut a tree down together, and I have no idea. I'm guessing. I know a general direction in the county, but I'm so full of myself, I'm not going to admit the truth that I have no idea. So, of course, as I have demonstrated propensity for, I got us lost. But my aunt just laughed and said, "You can get it, honey. Do you know what you're doing? Keep going." And so, we were on this dirt road. We were lost desperately. I had no idea where we were, but I wasn't going to admit that. And I'm like, "Yeah, turn up here." And I'm thinking, "Oh, I don't know. Maybe I can find something I recognize." And then when they made that last turn, and out of the blue, out of nowhere, in the middle of this field, in the backside of nowhere, on this dirt road, there was my mom and dad in the field, waving at us. They only been there like 10 minutes. And I'm like, yes! And I never told them either. I never told them that I got us lost, and that was sheer luck. That was God's providence that Cook got us to the right place where they were, because that was just a surprise to me to this day. And I felt the hand of God in that one, I'll tell you. And my aunt just laughed. She said, "I knew you'd get it, honey." She had this great laugh. And but there's a lot of awesome people in your life, and we wish we had, video and photography evidence to remind us of that. But sometimes all we have is what we remember. It is definitely worth our time to share that with our children, to share those times with others, and to just remember them fondly. So I appreciate you indulging me today in this long, rambling story that I had you tell that may not seem to have any point to it. But it is about making memories now with your family and friends, making memories that last, capturing those memories, and sharing them with others, and sharing them with yourself so that when you're old and gray on down the road and you're crazy and can't remember, you can look back and remember those things and they're not lost. So have a great day. Hope you enjoyed the story. See you next time.